Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. She is. Yeah. Fat, how would you describe yourself outside of amazing? Huh? What would you say, Martika?
What?
How would you describe yourself?
How I describe myself?
Yeah.
I'm just a child of God trying to do my thing.
Yeah, do your thing, child. Yeah, do your thing. Fat is in a lot more songs because
I'm
she.
amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
If it was like,
Yeah, she's amazing. She is. Yeah. Fat, how would you describe yourself outside of amazing? Huh? What would you say, Martika?
what?
How would you describe yourself?
How I describe myself?
Yeah.
I'm just a child of God trying to do my thing.
Yeah, do your thing, child. Yeah.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We're talking to you guys about Toby. He is trending on Twitter at the moment after this TikTok that went out a few days ago. Hey, listen, look. You know what? If you've watched some of their videos, obviously about how they got together, you understand why people are a little bit concerned by his sarcasm here as well, because it's given very much he don't like her. It's given very much he don't like her. Now, of course, couples can be sarcastic. Couples have their moments. Snapshots of people's relationships are not the entirety of their whole entire relationship. But you know what? When you get videos like this, I can understand why people make the assessments as they do, especially as the way that they began. And, you know, that's why I said, but being in love isn't important, right? Being in love isn't important. The most important thing is that you love them, right? Nah, being in love with that person is important, because sometimes people's definition of I love you really is I got used to you, or you're my safety net, or I settled, or do you know what? You were the only one there. Now, I know he described his story as, you know what, when he looked around at all his connects, that was the one he wanted to be with. But the way he talks about her, we don't need it, okay? Just like I said about that Instagram post, there are certain truths that need not come out your mouth. We need not know from the internet. We need not know as a public. But when you do say it, we now have a different aspect of looking at your relationship, you know, and your situation. So we're going to talk a little bit about this as well. We won't stay long, and we'll talk about some other subjects as well. But if you're new to the channel, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. Let's get into this video as well. All right, cool. So let's just quickly, just go again, just really quickly. I'll just let you watch the video one more time, just in case you're new coming in. This is what happened.
Do your thing. Fat is in a lot more songs because she.
I'm amazing.
Yeah. Does that look like somebody? Does that look like? Listen, the brother was like, "Listen, Fat's in a lot more songs because she's." And she said, "I'm amazing." And did you see the way he responded there? Now that could be pure sarcasm. Okay, it could be pure sarcasm, but that also looks like content. That looks like the brother is annoyed. Okay, all right. That looks like contempt to me. Okay, and contempt is a feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn. Okay, that's what it felt like, an attitude of contempt in that moment when she said what she said. Okay, or you can say being discontent in that moment as well, because he's not satisfied with the current circumstances at the moment. That, for me, that reaction was off. I'll be honest with you, that reaction was off. That's not how I expected you to react to your wife saying those things. Now, of course, someone could say he's a very sarcastic person, but that didn't look like the sarcasm that is meant to be funny.
Yeah, she's amazing.
If it was like,
Yeah, she's amazing. She is. Yeah. Fat, how would you describe?
You see a little laugh there as well? It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Okay, all right. That the brother did a this right here. Like that's what it felt like. He was like this right here. This, you know what I mean? It wasn't given. You know, oh, you know, my wife is amazing. I love her, and she know she's amazing. That's why she's on. You know, that's why she's on these songs. It wasn't given that at all. I don't know if you guys felt that. I didn't feel that. Y'all feel that? Because I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the love there. So he's trending because a lot of people saw that TikTok a few days ago. And then they obviously brought up a couple of things. So let me just quickly go through those and so you can see why he was obviously trending in that moment as well. Let's have a look for you guys, okay? Because it was it weren't looking good, bruv. It was not looking good, bruv. Okay, so let's just look at this video here. Sorry, I need to find the video. Okay, here we go. So look at this. Let's look at this part here, right? So I want you to watch this because he starts describing this, and I realized her body language.
More clothes.
I want you to watch her body language because she starts in the shot, and by the end of this conversation of 1 minute 46, she's out of the shot. I think that said a lot about how she felt about this particular part, this conversation as well. Let's have a look.
I like got revelation in like 3 different areas. One of the areas was I used to always say that she was a solid option, but I didn't feel like she was the best option. Then we went to this one event where it was like all the options that I had met in Houston in one place at one time. It was the craziest situation. And Fat was there. And it was the first time ever in my life that I didn't feel like having no conversations with nobody else outside of Fat. So much so that I was like, hey Fat, if you don't mind, would you like play me a little close so don't nobody else come up to me and ask me no questions? And it was like and it was just say it was like it was some people that I had either wanted to talk to, talk to at one point in time, or something like that. They was all in the building, all these different women, and I didn't want to be close. I didn't want to have conversations with not one of them. So I had to be honest with myself.
Where's she gone? She's still there, but look, where's she gone? Yeah, did you notice that? Where's she gone? She literally had leaned out of the shot, and I think that's because, again, you know, when your partner is talking about you and they are praising you, you tend to come closer. You tend to keep the intimacy and the proximity. But as he started talking about the situation at hand, she's leaned all the way the other side. She ain't trying to be in the shot. Okay? She ain't trying to be close to him at this moment. I think that speaks volumes personally. Now, I could be reaching because we don't really know the full context, but girl was leaning away.
And ask myself, like, all right, cool, you say that she a solid option, but when all the options were present, this was the only person that you wanted to be close to. So I had to be honest with myself and say, all right, cool, out of everybody, I can't lie to myself. I want to talk to her more than I want to talk to anybody else.
Like when I say when I said this about the Instagram girl saying about, oh, I like the fact he worships the ground I walk on, and you know, I wasn't into love at this point. This is in the same bracket, guys. Look, public statements like this where there's just so much honesty is like, yeah, you ain't happy about your choice, and that's okay. You know, you ain't happy about your choice. To be honest with yourself, you're making do. Okay, you're making do. Let's be honest with ourselves. You're making do. Okay, listen to her response.
I think it was that serious because I mean we had that long friendship, and like, you know, throughout the friendship it was like, is he? No, he not. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Mm-hmm. And so then like when we got in together, I was like, okay, cool, this is about to be a thing, and then he broke up with me. So then I was like, nah, I'm not finna play these games with you. Once that year went by, I was like, and he started trying to come back around, I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I had a close friend at the time. She was like, don't be so like.
You know, it's body language. Head dropped. Shame. Embarrassment. Head dropped during that section of the conversation we're talking about. Right? That's intentional. In that moment, it's a bit difficult to say that part of the story because honestly, when you tell that part of the story, you can tell you're embarrassed and you're ashamed because you know that he came back and you took him back. And you know what? The way you were treated, you weren't liking the way you were treated, right? But again, because you liked him so much, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying to you. Please don't choose me if you don't want me. Please. Right? And this is also why I don't be circling back for gyal that when I like them and I told them I like them and they didn't respond in that way, I don't want to circle back because you are settling. Look, it's very rare that people's mindset towards you changes, right? If there's not an extensive friendship involved, okay? So I personally wouldn't be doing circling back. If I've said I liked you and you said, you know, that's not for you at that time, I'm rarely going to circle back. You know what I mean? I'm rarely going to do it. You know, rarely going to do it.
Don't be like so closed off to where you become bitter. If he's showing you something different, just watch him. And he was extremely different from like all our past situations. And so I just began to watch him, and it opened my heart back up to being in a relationship with him. I didn't think he was that serious because, I mean, it was...
I know she tired of telling this story. I know she tired of telling this story. I know she don't want to tell that story no more. Okay. All right. You know, I know she tired of telling that part of the story. You know, look, we always talk about this on the channel. How you start is how you finish. You know, how you begin oftentimes is how you end. Yeah, the beginning ain't looking good. I'm gonna just be real with you. The beginning isn't good. He wasn't interested in her in the beginning, right? Let's be honest. The options that he had on the table, they were what he was attracted to. But then he realized this is the only option that probably works. But it's the way he tells the story. She wasn't the best option. He said it himself. She wasn't the best option. And so now we're in a situation. We're in a situation where we can see it don't look like, you know, it don't look like he's actually in love with his wife. Right? I'm just saying. It doesn't look like he loves his wife. You know? I think there's some other things. Okay, so they have an interview. Someone said let's have a look. Let's see what people are bringing up. You know? Okay, so listen. Big Red says this. Toby is big personality, but fat ain't nothing to take lightly. She elevated Toby and helped him to tame his ego, but not sweating him when he was in his super ego. Yeah, she ain't tamed nothing. Look, I'm going to say again, you cannot tame my ego. My ego I have to be able to tame my own ego. She didn't do nothing. I promise you this now, that ego gonna come back up. It gonna come back up. Okay? It gonna come back up because if I haven't done it myself before I met you, more than likely, and it's not always, more than likely, that ego is going to come back up again. It's just being subdued for now because just like I said about women wanting a family, kids, security, that they put off how they really feel for a good 10, 20 years, right? 10, 20 years, right? Because the immediate need was to have kids and stability. They put off their feelings. Men do the exact same thing too, right? They do the exact same thing too. Where they literally, they also spend time getting a wife, getting kids, and they don't like the woman. And then 10, 20 years down the line, they then tell the truth about how they feel. You know? So, you know, for me, yeah, I trust me. Yeah, this ain't it. This ain't it. Trust me, this ain't it. Yeah, the clip alone, Simplistic Grace, yeah, on its own, the clip isn't too mad. But if you know their story, that's what makes it mad. That's what makes it mad. If you know their story, that's what makes it mad, because of the way he described the beginning of their story. You know, when you watch their YouTube breakdowns of the actual story, can't tell me that it's not mad. Can't tell me that it's not mad. You can't tell me it's not mad. You know what I mean? When you watch their whole breakdown, 12 parts, 13-part breakdown of how they came together, you can't tell me it's not mad. Cannot tell me he's not mad. I don't want to ever put a woman in a situation like that where I'm like, you know what? Oh, you know what? You were just a good option. That's why I chose you. What? Now, don't get it twisted. Of course, men will choose the reality versus the fantasy. No one's asking him to choose the fantasy. What we are saying is he didn't even choose the reality. When he spoke the story, he settled. Let's have a look at this. There was another story that's come up, so let's have a look. We're going to put this. Apparently, this interview came up, so let's have a look.
I'm saying that.
Come on, somebody up in here. Don't
up?
start.
You know what I'm saying?
Rich up in here today, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
But it
spot.
wasn't always easy, right?
Definitely.
Because I want to
wasn't.
talk about that part of the journey.
Yeah. Go ahead, Fat. It wasn't always easy.
Oh, what uneasy part you want me to talk about?
What
Which
am I
part?
allowed to speak
Before,
on?
after, during, like, what you
I'm saying
want?
we transparent. We transparent.
Yeah, I gotta
A little
be
bit.
transparent to him.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's the process. Like, before we got married, like, he had to come to himself, like, understanding that he wanted me. Because he was trying to act like he didn't want me.
Did you want her at that point?
No, when we first met, I promise you, our whole encounter is completely different from what people think.
For sure.
Like,
Fat,
Completely different.
Oh, no, not platonic. I did not want her.
No.
Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know, like, when boy meets girl, like, the boy is like, oh, my God, she's the one.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. No, those roles were reversed.
And she was like,
I met him, and I was like, that's my husband.
and I
he
met
was
her, and I was like, no.
Nah.
I keep telling y'all, please don't choose me if you don't want me. Please don't. Please don't. This is also why I don't hover around friend zone. It's also one of the reasons why I don't hover around the friend zone, right? I don't do friend zone hovering around, because really the reality of a lot of times when men hover around the friend zone, they're waiting for an opportunity. I don't want you to wait for an opportunity. I want you to see me and want me. If you don't see it, that's fine. I can move on. I don't need to beg it, bruv. You understand? I don't need to be holding on, hoping for one day for you to break down and I can treat you better than all the niggas treated you. I don't give a hoots. Sorry about that. Rain was coming down like a madness. I'm just like, don't choose me, please, when you're on, because you got a safety net. Don't choose me as a backup dancer. Don't choose me, okay? Don't choose me knowing that you settled. I don't want to be in that place. Nope, this ain't it.
Like, don't do that.
For
She used to do
real.
me like the little googly eye stuff, and I used to be like, hey, stop doing that. Like, I
You
was
can say it
this.
straight like that.
No, I used to be
Completely
like
honest.
extremely honest with her, because she used to try to help out. You know what I'm saying? She used to try to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I put
finesse.
myself in his environment.
Look
is what
at
I
look at
did.
look at how she
Okay.
do it.
You know what I'm saying?
She used to try to finesse and like help out with my nonprofit.
Ladies
Like, hey,
take
if
note.
y'all need, you know what I'm saying?
Ladies,
If you
first.
need any
tell
help,
you.
you need any help with anything, I could do this, I could do that. It don't matter, whatever you need, whatever the organization needs. I was like, all right, bet.
But it was you truly, genuinely wanting to help, not like, let me help him so I can get him.
No, she was trying to help because she was trying to strategically place herself. Okay? She's trying to strategically place herself. But don't try to put it like, oh, she was trying to help because she strategically placed herself in the help area. Of course she wanted to help, but she was strategically placing herself. I don't want to be in this place. Please don't put me in this place. Okay, please don't. Don't choose me if you don't want me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't let me be a safety net. I don't want to be a safety net. Don't choose me to be a safety net. No, don't do it. Okay? If you weren't feeling me in the beginning, you ain't feeling me in general. Just leave me alone. And me too. Why am I being dumb? If I already tried to make a move to you, you weren't on it. I don't need to be hovering around the friendship zone, hoping and waiting for when you're going to be like, oh my God, like I actually see the quality and the amazingness of you. No. There are fishes in the sea that you can go and collect. Go and collect the fishes in the sea. Okay? I'm not about to be there. No, don't do that to me. Who's Roxy? Roxy says, welcome to the place. I ain't seen you before, Roxy. That's a beautiful DP. Ain't gonna lie to you. All right, cool. Let me focus back onto what we're talking about. Let me focus back onto what we're talking about here.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, once he, like, made it clear that he
Nah,
wasn't
look at his face.
interested in-
No, look at his face. Look at his face. No. Look at his face. Guys, look at his face. Look at his face. Oh, my gosh. Look, you know body
Try to
language. Listen, watch this.
and like help out with my nonprofit. Like,
Ladies
hey,
take
if
note.
y'all need, you know what I'm saying?
Ladies,
If you
first.
need any help, you need any help with anything, I could do this, I could do that. It don't matter, whatever you need, whatever the organization need. I was like, all right, bet.
But it was you truly, genuinely wanting to help, not like, let me help him so I can get
Watch
him.
his
to
face.
Oh, no, for
really notice
sure.
me. Yeah.
For
Watch his
sure.
face.
Like, once he, like, made it clear that he wasn't interested in a relationship with me, I was like, all right. So I had this feeling for some reason. So maybe it's just to be his friend and help him with what he's doing. And
He
so
ain't
I
do
just
that.
put myself in his environment. And eventually, like, over time, like, stuff started happening between us and them.
It's just real difficult to, you know what I'm saying, deny somebody who like, you know what I'm saying, love you flaws and all. It's just it was just too much. When it's like the best friend you could ever imagine. It's like what the like kids be doing with the imaginary friend. It was like that times 10. It was like crazy. So she was like always there for when I ain't had no money, when I ain't had no ride, if I ain't had no, you know what I'm saying?
No, nothing.
No, you know what I'm saying?
What was the turning point, though?
I think at first, because we got together and we broke up after 6 months because I was just like, nah, I just don't feel it like you do. You know what I'm saying? It was a very honest situation. But the first time it was,
Oh, yeah, scratch that nexus because it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Nah, no. Don't choose me. I don't want to be chose like this. Hey, listen, ladies, look, if you don't fancy me, it's okay. You know what I mean? Don't choose me. Okay? Don't choose me as a safety net to have kids and a family when you ain't feeling me. Don't do it. I don't want to see you grow in love. I don't give a hoots. Okay, we're in a Western side culture. We're not in the Eastern culture. We're not in Jesus' time. We're not in biblical time. We're not in the Stone Age. Please don't do it. We're in Western culture where people have choices. And because they have choices, they think differently to people who are in arranged marriage culture. In arranged marriage culture, people already have a mindset of where they want to go, of the fact that they're going to be resigned to trying to make it work. You are not in that mindset. And it's very difficult to switch your mind to that place. There are very few people who can actually do that. Don't choose me, and I'm not going to choose you. Be very honest with me. You don't fancy me? It's okay. I may fancy you, but you may not fancy me. You can tell me that, hey, coach, you know what? I don't fancy you. And I'm going to be, thank you very much for being honest. I don't need to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. Okay? Stop. All right? Okay? Stop. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. I'm okay. All right? There is a woman out there that when they see me, they want me. There's a man out there, when he sees you, he wants you. Why do I need to settle for somebody in the Western culture? Western culture specifically, I'm saying Western culture, because in a Western society, we have a different mindset. I want to make that very, very clear. It's not that we can't do it. It's that in the Western culture, there's a thing called choice. Within our culture, we have a thing called choice. And because of that choice, it makes it difficult to just say, I'm going to go along with what's happening. What people do tend to do is, I will happily, go along with it because I get I get something out of it. Okay? I get kids out of it. I get your financial security. I get your emotional love and care and appreciation. And for the time being, it works. But a lot of times these things fail because the reality is you don't want them. You never wanted them. But because you had a need for kids and to get married and to have a husband, you had need for titles. You are willing to, give in to some of these things. No. Desperation has a sound, and desperation sounds like this to me. Just saying. Okay? Don't choose me. Okay? Don't prove me. Okay? Darlene said it's totally okay that he grew in love with her versus starting off being infatuated. This just proves that their love will last long haul and not run its course early. You don't grow up. Well, it could. Listen, okay? It could be that he loves her and goes a long haul. My issue is discontent. Not loving a person always breeds to resentment and discontent, right? Discontent in the way that you see that person as below you and beneath you. And then also leading to disrespect because really and truly you don't really have that love for that person because that wasn't your choice. Your first choice anyway. Okay? All right? I'm not saying that people can't grow in love with you. I'm saying I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be in a place where you start off by like, you denied me, I denied you. You denied me for weeks on weeks. He kept on begging me to be with him. And, what kind of self-respecting man are you? As a man, where is your respect for yourself? If I'm chasing a woman who keeps telling me, I'm not interested, I keep begging it. I then try to be her friend. I try to stay in a friendship zone until one day what happens is she either has a weak moment or she realizes no one else is coming for her and no one else is going to save her, but you're around. Look, it's a very passive game. And look, when I was younger, I can be honest with you, I thought like that. When I was younger, I did think like that because I had one, no game. Number two, my self-respect was in a bin. Number three, that game is we call it a long game. That long game that you're playing is really based upon that person having a lower value of themselves in the sexual dating marketplace. Right? In the sexual dating marketplace, your value has lowered, so you decide to choose that guy that's been hovering around for you. He's not been consistent, he's been persistent. It's a completely different situation, right? People confuse consistency with persistence. Consistency is about a mutual, me and you both, and we're keeping up with each other, and I've been consistent. Persistence is you pestering. All right? And it's in the way that he tells a story. He's delighted to tell you. Look, the fact he takes delight in telling us a story about how he never wanted her. Oh, I never wanted her. There is no shame. There's no look, do you know what? I'm not going to lie to you in the beginning. I wasn't really feeling her like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I was seeing different things and da-da-da. No, he's delighted to tell you, listen, I didn't want her. You heard it himself. How are you telling me this is what's positive? Our brother's telling you, I didn't want her. In the beginning, no, what? I didn't want her. That's literally how he said it. In this is how he said it in his own video. That's how he said it in his own YouTube video. It's not got any better that you realize maybe this part of the story might be very painful for the other person. The reality is, she liked him so much, she's willing to overlook some of the madness that he's bringing to the table. Let's
I truly love the way that she loved me. So I was like, let me just see if I can start to grow into feeling about her the way that she feels.
And here we are again. We're on that place again, isn't it? I really love the way that she loved me. We're back here again. This is the same thing with the Instagram post last time as well. I really love the way, that she loved me. That's what I think, Roxy, as well. I think the same thing, Roxy. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right. So I don't know. For me, yeah, I can't ride with that, man. I can't ride with that and be excited by that. Imagine, no, I'm deep in it. No, I'm deep in it. I would start flying and breaking things in the place. Imagine the wife that I'm dealing with tells the world as we're sitting down, I didn't want him. Yeah, I didn't want him. All right? I didn't want him. I didn't want him. I was like, what the frick? You didn't want him? You didn't want me? Someone said we never discredit a love story where the guy's persistent and the girl's not into it. I do. I absolutely do. I just said it a minute ago. I definitely question it, Darlene. I will definitely question a man where the woman didn't want you and you were persistent, not consistent, persistent. I when those stories come out, okay, I say it all the time. I'm not on it. Right? Not on it. Not on it. But I didn't want you. This is not even at first I didn't see it. If someone comes out and says, at first I didn't see it, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, look, at first I didn't see it because you know what? My mind was so focused on these qualities, right? My mind, and like I said, it's the way you answer that tells me where your heart really is lying. Because if somebody says, okay, look, at first I didn't actually see him or her. At first I didn't see him or her. My mind was focused elsewhere. But you know what? As we started interacting, I saw the heart of the person and I realized it's the way it's explained. I wouldn't take pride. You taking pride in the fact that I didn't want you. How is that positive? You know what I mean? Where's your emotional intelligence? That you take pride in the fact that I didn't want you. Hey! The bar is in hell and Satan is using it as a pull-up bar. Because clearly, what's going on? I just put it on a t-shirt. That sounds so wavy. The bar is in hell and Satan is using it as a pull-up bar. I really need to start doing some t-shirts out here. Let me write that down because I need to be a millionaire. I need to be a millionaire. Yeah, let me write it down. What? That's a t-shirt in itself. Okay? Yeah, let me write that down. The bar is in hell. And Satan is using it. As a pull-up bar. Yeah, love it. T-shirt. Instantly. Put it on a mug. Put that on a mug somewhere. You drink your tea. You put your mug there. The bar's in hell, but Satan's using it as a pull-up bar. Fantastic. Yeah. Hopefully it will remind you to have sense. Don't choose a man that's told you several times doesn't want you, who even gets with you. Did you hear this? He got with her 6 months later and then said, I can't do this. No. I need you to deep this story. Deep this story. I need you to deep this story. Listen to what he said. No. Listen to what he said.
Could ever imagine. It's like what like kids be doing with the imaginary friend. It was like that times 10. It was like crazy. So she was like always there for when I ain't had no money, when I ain't had no ride, if I ain't had no, you know what I'm saying?
No, nothing.
No, you know what I'm saying?
What was the turning point, though?
I think at first, because we got together and we broke up after 6 months because I was just like, nah, I just don't feel it like you do. You know what I'm saying? It was a very honest situation. But the first time,
they got together and couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Okay?
it was I truly loved the way that she loved me. So I was like, let me just see if I can like start to like grow into feeling about her the way that she feels about me. And fellas, that's an extremely stupid way to do things.
Don't do that.
If you don't feel it off the top, then don't do it. So I tried to like grow into it and it ain't work. So I shut it down. And then later on, you know what I'm saying, I came back around.
Feeling came on strong, huh?
Oh, man.
Why did you come back around, sir?
It was a very sure thing.
Yeah. Because what happened was we had that separation, and I started living my life, and I started doing what I needed to do, not
But
worried
when you say you're
about-
living my life, it kind of make you sound like a hoe, though.
First of all, you didn't even let me finish.
Well, I'm
'cause
saying,
I
but
was
when
getting
people say
to the
living
point
my
of
life,
what I
it means
was
I'm
doing.
loose. That's what
So
that means.
what I meant by that, because you right, you could take that wrong. So
Okay,
what
I
I
want
meant
the
by
people to
that
think that.
was
We are, 7 minutes in? I ain't heard a thing. I ain't heard a thing about positivity from him. Has anybody heard any positive words? We had more positive words in the Instagram post. I ain't gonna lie to you. We heard more positivity in the Instagram post by that lady. There ain't no positive thing he said so far. Even the joke was again degrading. It was a joke, by the way. I believe it was a joke, but it was degrading. It's like, and do you know what he's doing? He's doing the exact same thing I'm seeing with Monique Samuels and Chris Samuels. Even her jokes are at the butt of her husband. And it's the same thing here. Even his joke here about, it makes it sound like you're loose. What? I was out here doing my thing. I took it as, oh, she was actually living her own life. She no longer was pandering to you. She was no longer, literally begging for the crumbs off your table. That's what I took it as, that she's now doing her own thing. And notice how now she's doing her own thing. That's going to make him want to come through. Do you know why? Because the power was lost. Look, I don't think this, honestly, this is my personal opinion. This, for me, isn't about him seeing the beauty and the grace in her. This is more about the fact that, do you know what? I had you, and I had you eating at the palm of my hand, and then I lost you. And instead of, most guys play around. Most guys play around and be like, hey, do you know what? I'm gonna try and get you back, but they don't want you. He actually went one step further and married her. Yeah. Okay.
I started like doing for myself. Like I got a better job. I got my whip. I started like progressing in life for myself and not for anyone else. Mm-hmm. And we had that separation to figure out what it was. Well, what it was he actually wanted. Like, and so he ended up coming back around once he saw me shining.
Okay.
And,
back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot.
Exactly.
And that's what it was.
You know what I'm saying? For lack of better terms. That's good, fam.
Those are the better terms.
But
That's
honestly, she couldn't be who she needed to be for you if she didn't have herself together.
No
so
doubt.
That's what really
Definitely.
happened.
And when we broke up, I promise you, the first what I told her was like, hey, look, I want to be with you first and foremost because I'm not in love with you. And then second of all, you really don't want to be with me because you don't want to be with somebody who don't feel about you the way that you feel about them, to be honest with yourself. So even though you think you want to be with me, I promise you really don't. And this situation ain't going to be sweet for the both of us if we just keep going. So let's end it when we first ended it.
And then it came back around and
Oh, no doubt. I had to get clear surety on three things. I'll say it real quick. The first thing was, what was the first thing? I always felt like Fat was a solid option, but I ain't feel like she was like the one. And I'm not a believer.
God damn. It just never gets better. Oh, it just never gets better. It never gets better. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. It doesn't. Okay? It doesn't get better. Listen, something about Nigerians that I've noticed about Nigerians. Let's be honest. When the Nigerian men love you, they are sweet with lyrics. Hey, listen. One thing Nigerian men are good with is lyrical waxing. If they love you, they will give you lyrical wax. Even if they like you and they just want to sleep with you, they will give you lyrical wax. He hasn't given any lyrical wax. Not even 1 ounce of lyrical wax. This guy doesn't want her. He does not want her. Okay? He does not want her. Nigerian men, I'm telling you now, they are the kings of waxing lyrics. They know how, let me tell you something, they know how to speak. Hey! Please, Nigerian men, let's not do that to them. At least they may be demons, some of them, but the demons know how to speak. Don't play with Nigerian men when it comes to lyrical waxing. They don't play. So that's what I'm saying, that if he's doing this telling me that he's not even on it, bro. Where's the lyrical waxing? There's not even 1 ounce of lyrical wax. They will compare you to something. They will do the way they can even describe the love that they have for you is different. Different. All right, the lyrical wax. Listen. That's one thing I respect about the Nigerian men. The waxing they can give. Listen, Nigerian men. One thing, the lyrical waxing. Number one. Number two, spending money. These guys know how to spend bazaar money. Why do you think? Listen, I went to America. They're having the same problems we have in UK with Nigerian men. Nigerian men, they have big kahunas. They are strong physically and they are strong in their stature and the way they approach their confidence is another level. Their confidence and their ego and the way that they pride is a different level. Okay? Nigerian men, listen, look, I'm not even mad at them because the way they approach, shit, I need to learn from them. Honestly, I'm telling you, the way their personality is, no, there's no way you can tell me this one loves her. You can't tell me that. At least if they're a demon, they're gonna lie to you. they're gonna lie to you proper and at least make you feel like they're gonna gaslight you into a relationship. This one has not even done that. This one's not even doing that. He's letting her know he doesn't want her. Kai, he's letting her he does not want her. He does not want her. Let's be honest. He does not want her. Kai. Of course, there are obviously different types of Nigerian men, but I'm just talking about a generalization, stereotype. I'm talking about stereotype, which is, it's us being funny at the same time. There's a lot of reality steeped in that stereotype. You know what I mean?
Believer in like the soulmate type.
I was gonna
thing.
ask, do you believe in like? The
No, I
whole
really
soulmate
don't. I
situation?
really believe in you pick who you want to be with, and then you honor the covenant. Like as under God, I feel like you just pick who you want to be with. You know what I'm saying? And then you honor that
Yeah.
person. It's a choice. So
For sure.
So I feel like she was always a solid option. Then we went to an event as like friends with some other people. And it was the very first time. And usually when we go into events, I usually tell Fat, like, I look at them and be like, hey, listen, when we go in here, like, don't be too close. Like, I know
You
it's
would say that?
He would say that, but what he don't know is like I would go in there looking for somebody too.
Okay.
So,
you know what I'm saying? That's
it's
what
not-
she tells herself.
And
But
he don't believe that, but I promise you, it's the truth.
Like, I'm not about to stand close to you because I'm trying to come in here and pull too.
you know, that's what she was trying to say. So I'll be very, very honest because I never want to like try to like mislead her, like lead her on and make her feel some type of way. So we went into this one event and I gave her the speech that I usually give if we go into places where it's gonna be people. So at this event it was like women that at least 5 different women that at one point in time I talked to, I liked or I like wanted to talk to, all at the same time. So we went in there and for the first time ever in my life with all these like different little influences around me, I didn't feel like being bothered with nobody. And I literally said to Fat, hey, don't go too far. Like, I don't like, it ain't nothing, like, don't do that. But I'm saying, like, just don't go too far because I don't feel like talking to them either. So just stay by. If they think something is cool, but I just don't. And then when I left that event, I had to really ask myself, I was like, dang, with everybody around, was Fat really the person that you wanted to talk to? And most of them, I had to be honest with myself, and she was. The second thing was, I had a real hard time not being able to say I was in love with Fat. I was like, I always felt like I had a like ride or die type love, like a real like I know who you are, you know who I am type love for. And
So he's got emotional issues. He's got emotional connection issues. Okay, he's got emotional connection issues. Yes, Fab. Yes, he didn't want other guys talking to her, right? But also at the same time, when you watch the YouTube video, he actually expands on the story. It don't get better. It gets worse. Because when he explains it, he's basically like, don't go too far, but don't be too close. He's like, don't go too far, but don't be too close. And basically, he wanted her to be around whenever he wanted her to be around. That's control. The reality is he's got emotional connection issues, yeah? Intimacy issues, I believe. Yeah? He's got intimacy issues. And the problem is that it will show its ugly head in the relationship. In most cases, I'm going to say most again, in most cases, you're not going to outpace this emotional trauma that you have. Some people do. Some people grow out of their emotional trauma by the grace of God. But no, in this situation, probably more than likely, he probably ain't going to outgrow his trauma that he has. He needs to go and deal with it. That's why he doesn't believe in, that's why he struggled to believe in being in love. That's why he's like, I don't believe in the one. Of course, I don't believe in the one either, but I'm saying when you mention all of it together, all right? So yeah. Yeah.
Talked to my homeboy and he helped me understand that love don't got nothing to do with feelings. And he went biblical on me. So he was like, yeah, when they tried to like trip up Jesus and was like, hey, of all the commandments, which ones are the livest or whatever? You know what I'm saying, for lack of better terms. You know what I'm saying?
The most important.
Most important. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to connect with my people.
Get it right.
You know what I'm saying?
We want to paraphrase correctly.
So which, you know what I'm saying?
Get your,
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, which one's the most important? He said, oh, that's easy. Love God with all your heart and then love your neighbor as yourself. And I said, all right, cool. What they got to do with Fat? And he was like, if you could understand that at the basic level, then you understand that love is a command. It don't have nothing. You can't command feelings. Like I can't be like, Keisha, feel sad right now.
Right.
Yeah, he's right about that. But let's not do that, because this is where people mess up as Christians. People start messing up as Christians. You have emotions for a reason. Okay, let's not do that. Thank you. You said at the same time I did it. The Christianese. Yeah, that's the Christianese talk. Listen, You have emotions for a reason. Okay? All right? It's like saying, okay, when Abraham describes his wife, he describes her as beautiful. When his son Isaac goes and sees Rebecca, he says she's a beautiful woman, and he kisses her and he wept because I think his mom had passed. Right? Then we have Jacob. Jacob saw Rachel and he saw Leah. Who did he want? He wanted Rachel. Right? When he saw Rachel, he said Rachel had a body. She had bad. Okay, but Leah had the weak eyes. But he fell in love with Rachel, not Leah. Right? He said when he saw her, he wept. Don't tell me that we don't have feelings. No, let's not do that. I don't like when people do that. They try to make it, if love is just a command. Stop that. Stop that. God didn't make you without emotions. He made you with emotions. He made you with feelings. Let's not pretend. Where we have to get to a point is the feelings should not be the only basis for a relationship. It is the beginning. Tell me somebody, let me tell you something. Anybody here who's a born again Christian, if you can answer this question for me. When God saved you, when you fell in love with God, did you have the feelings? For those of us who are Christians here, born again, truly born again Christians, when you started to get into a relationship with God, did you get that feeling? Because most of us did. Most of us got into a place where God started showing us things. We would pray and it would happen. It'd make you feel happy. You would go to church and somebody would mention something that you read in the Bible and you'd be like, oh my God, the message for me. You start feeling happy. You start catching feelings for God. Because that's what God does. He draws you in with the honeymoon phase, and then you have to start working on the relationship after the honeymoon phase finishes. You have to start working at the relationship you have with God. Do you see? So I'm not saying it's everybody's, but a lot of us had a feeling. That's what drew us in. We had the sudden our life was renewed and changed. We had this feeling, and that feeling was a part of that love. Oh, God loves me. It's a feeling. I feel like God now. I can feel God's presence. So let's not try to make it Christian as if that's principle. That ain't it. Because when you listen to people's testimonies, you will hear how when they first came to Christ, they felt God. And then after that, then you start realizing that feeling that you have is just like a relationship. It fades away. The honeymoon phase fades away. And then you have to start working at your relationship. And now when you realize that feeling goes away, you start to realize, oh my God, there's actually stuff I'll have to deal with. Because what God is trying to do is he's building the foundations of a relationship with you. So human being require feelings in this situation. Majority of us anyway. Sing, pray loud, say feelings aren't biblical. That's not true. That's not true. And that's not true. We don't see that. We don't see that in the Bible. We don't see that. That's not the truth. We have feelings. Okay? We all have feelings. Christ himself had feelings. He was moved at points to compassion, sadness, anger, grief. Right? There's a feeling of this love. Not saying it stays there. It doesn't stay there. That's what we talk about love being in different components. I spoke about this with the Greek type of love. Right? That when the Greeks broke it down what love is, there is another level of love where it becomes long-term, right? I'll find a video for you so you can bring it. I did a whole video on this where it breaks it down, where it gets to a point where you have to get to a place where you start building that longevity in your love, where you start building in that compatibility phase. But when you first start, God starts doing things for you so you can get excited about him, so that you can have testimony. That's why when people are really born again, they remember that things that God was doing in the beginning. It's like, oh my God, I remember that feeling. And that's why some people go, I don't have that feeling anymore. But you're not supposed to have that feeling anymore. What you're supposed to do is now grow in the spirit, and that spirit begins to overtake what you feel in the natural. Because the feeling was to get the ball rolling. The feeling was to get the ball rolling. The feeling was to get the foundation set. Once you go past that foundational aspect, now we have to start putting in the work, which means I have to start feeding myself with the spiritual things that help me to stand strong in spiritual things. Because my relationship with God is spiritual. You know what I mean? So importantly in this situation, feelings are absolutely important. Absolutely. Sing, pray. When you first, okay, let's say you have kids, right? Or you have kids, okay, you love your children. But when they first came out the womb, did you not have that feeling? When they first came out of your womb and you held that child, did you not have that immediate feeling? Right? That immediate feeling might not last till now when they're now 18, 20. You may have a different type of love because it's grown. But what I'm saying is that immediate feeling you have. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a feeling. That immediate feeling that you have. That's why when people see babies, you know, you get that immediate, oh my God, that you swoon over them. Feelings. To deny one has feelings is to deny being human. Okay, well, sing, pray. You have a different setup to a lot of people. Okay, you have a different setup. You're unique in this situation. You are the minority. I would say that you're a part of the minority because a lot of people do have that feeling. You know, a lot of people do have that feeling. So for a lot of people, they will have that immediate feeling when it first comes to something. You know? So that immediate feeling, it doesn't stay the same. You know, it doesn't stay the same. It grows. All right? It grows. And like I said, it's not everyone. That's why I said when I talk about everyone coming to Christ, I didn't say it's everyone. I said for the majority of people, they have a feeling because it helps build a foundation, and that's why too. If we're talking about parenting and kids, you know, you get that feeling. You see that child like, oh my God, like it's overwhelming feeling, but it's not everyone. Some people will not have that. Not everyone will have that, and I can understand that too. All right, cool.
Sound extremely stupid.
Yeah.
So he was like, if you can honestly say that you love her, then that's more than enough. But the world has made you believe that you got to have this some type of like euphoric feeling on the inside of you for a person, and that stuff come and go. But that ain't what love is. Love is a choice and it's a command. So once I understood, it seemed real simple, but like that literally broke the chains on my mind involving the word. And the third thing was fat guy sickle cell. So in my mind, I'm Nigerian, very prideful type of people. So in my mind, I'm always thinking to myself like, I want to be able to choose someone who I deem healthy to carry my seed. I always think about the future and stuff like that. And then God got on my head real heavy and was like, man, what make you think you know what healthy look like? What make you think you deep like that? Like you can't go get with somebody else and they like die from a stray bullet or what, like life can happen. Like, so you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm just finite. I don't really know too much. I ain't deep like that. So why would you be out here looking for the next best thing if the best thing is here with you? So once I had peace on those three issues, like it was nothing to go to face. Hey, will you be with me? You know what I'm saying?
So it was just like that. Hey, will you be with me?
Yeah, but she was when I told her that it had been so long. She was like, "Look, I don't got time for your games, boy." Like she hit me like,
I was like, I don't know. Like seriously, like when he started coming back around, I was like, nah, I'm like kind of done. Like I didn't want to be bothered no more because it was such a like roller coaster like with him, and so. Around that time, I literally had to get advice from one of my mentors, and she was like, don't be so closed off that you become bitter. Like, if he's showing you different, he's telling you different, just look and pay attention. And he was completely different from before. And so I just paid attention and watched. And over time, like, I was like, okay, maybe. And so then when he was really like, all right, like, I want to be with you, I was like, all right, quit playing.
like after.
So... yeah, that's true, Rox. That's what I was saying. There is nothing wrong with a love that is duty filled. That's also part of it as well. The reality is, that's why I said I gave a context in the Western culture though. The problem with this is for a lot of people of Western culture is the ability to have choice. The ability to have choice is where the problem lies for a lot of us in the Western culture. We wouldn't choose to make our love at the very beginning to be duty filled. We would choose it to be where we have chemistry, and then it leads into that deeper connection. And because that choice is present for us in the Western society compared to when we talk about the Eastern Hemisphere, right? Because it's different here, that choice is what causes issues. right? And that's that choice that can also present as a resentment. So yes, we need love that is long term. We need to be thinking compatibility wise. We need to think in a longevity when it comes to our relationship, not just choosing somebody because, you know, my delash is doing, not because my delash is moving all over the place or because her coochie moves. We don't want just that, right? We also want to understand there's a compatibility aspect and long-term relationship we have to look at. But what I'm talking about is even the way he's telling the story, the excitement of telling the fact that you didn't want her doesn't tell me that this person loves me. You see, you don't, okay, if we're talking about, okay, being in love with that person, but the treatment, you know what I mean? The excitement of telling the person, I didn't want you in the beginning. It's like, yo, it's wild to me. It's wild to me. Right? It's just like the Solomon Bucci situation where he's like, I'm talking reality and truth. She's not the finest babe since anything, but I love her. And I love, it's like, you don't, why? Why? Right? Why? Do you know what's really interesting about this? You're absolutely right, Sing Pay Love. The Eastern culture, they do last longer. But what people don't fail to tell you also is this. If you don't have the means and the power to be able to escape marriages the way you need to, of course it would last longer. They would last longer here in the Western side too. Marriages were lasting a long time. Marriages were also lasting a long time in the Western side too. When women don't have power to maneuver out of situations, they will last longer. The reality of a society is that when people have choice and the ability to make a choice, it becomes harder to stay in these relationships. If the power lies solely with men, in some Eastern cultures, women can't even drive. You tell them we are not on the same. We're not the same. You know. We're not the same. Eastern culture, Western culture, our cultures, we're not the same because power is different, right? It's good and bad in both senses. But let's be really true. The Western culture has suffered, and I don't mean that even in a bad way, but Western society has suffered a divorce because women have power to divorce now. All right? When you look at even Jewish culture originally, it was almost impossible for a woman to be able to divorce her husband. But a man could divorce her because she burnt the rice. It's not the same, and you realize that when we don't hold the others, because that's about building the whole narrative behind it. People have to have the power. All right, people have to have the power to be able to say, I don't want this. I wouldn't say they're necessarily healthier. I would say I can say there's truth in both of those statements. All right, I can say there's truth in both of those statements. One, we can say that because people don't really have choice, they succumb to the idea that arranged marriage, I can do it because I don't have the choice anyway. So I'll just do it and it's fine. And they're okay with that. So their expectation level is completely different, which makes them more content in a relationship. That's one truth. The other idea is also the fact that if you don't have choice, if you don't have as much choice, as in you don't have as much power to make choice, okay? If you don't have power to make choice, or if your choice would be considerably hindered by a huge consequence, then how much really are you actually choosing the love that you have in that relationship? How much are you really actually choosing to be happy in a relationship and really whether you want to be in that relationship if you know the consequences are huge? Right? The Western society, 1800s, 1900s, you couldn't even own property as a woman. You had to have the husband's name. It was survival to be married. Do you see what I'm saying? So that changes the mindset. It changes the mindset. So yes, we are more shallow in the society. Yes, people make poorer choices in the society. Yes, people quit earlier than they need to. But the reality is when you give people choice, they have to choose now to want to do something. And the beauty behind that is that's what God does. And then you get to see who really loves. Because a lot of people feel, I don't want to preach, but I'm going to preach. People read Romans 6 in the Bible and Paul is having a dialogue with the people. And the people are saying, so wait, if this is grace, are you telling me we can just sin? And Paul is like, well, no. Because the reality is if you really love me, if you really love Jesus, then you're not trying to sin against him. Right? So the reality here is that when we give people grace to make a choice, as sin abounds, so does grace. So what you realize is as people get more choice to do whatever they want to do, yes, marriages will break up more because people choose to do something different, whether it's right or wrong. So is it that is it the fact that Eastern culture has a better principle of marriage? Or is it the fact that there are other nuances that create a different different dynamic when it comes to marriage? You know what I mean? So now we have to look at it. So in marriage, what is it about? It is about love that is duty filled, about commitment. It is love that is about the principles of God's love. You know, love is enduring, love is patient, love is kind, love is doesn't boast, etc. It's about those things, but it also is about that feeling. Okay, there is a little bit of there's a feeling in there. Yeah, there's a feeling in there. I want to feel loved. And I want to feel like I love you. And that comes from stoking the fire. Let me give an example of how it works. Oh, God, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. In the Bible, it talks about Timothy. Timothy, it says, Timothy, fan the flames. Don't let nobody tell you that you're young. Fan those flames. What? What does that mean? As Christians, we say, I'm on fire for God. I'm on fire for God. What that really means is that my mind is consumed by the things of God. Because God is a consuming fire. My mind is consumed with the things of God. So I'm thinking, breathing, living, talking, speaking, walking God. When the fire dies down, how do you feel? You feel distant from God. You feel like maybe the heavens are not hearing you. You feel like, you know what, maybe God doesn't love me. You start asking these questions. But it doesn't change your position in the marriage of God. You're still married to Jesus. You're still married to the Lamb. Okay, but your feeling of love is dictated by what you input into the relationship. Oh God, thank you. Oh, let's preach. I don't want to preach, but let's preach. I know some people they ain't gonna like it, but let's preach. Listen, as a Christian, you know, especially those who are Christians. If you're not a Christian here, yeah, if it is what it is. So as a Christian, when we talk about being on fire for God. Right? When you're on fire for God, what it means is you're inputting things into you, and you're feeling that strength, that spiritual strength. You're feeling your spirit overtake, you know, your natural instincts. You're sharp in spirit, and you're sharp in your knowledge and your understanding and your wisdom, because it's being led by the Spirit. Because what you're doing is, as John said, I must decrease so that he may increase. You're decreasing your flesh so your spirit can rise, and you start to feel this fire, right? And you start to move with speed, and you start to move with strength, and it's a different ball game. But then you also remember the times where you don't feel it. That's the equivalent of what we're talking about in a marriage. You want to feel that fire and that passion, and you feel that by what? By feeding into each other, right? You do that by feeding into each other. How do you feed each other? Well, I invest myself into your interests, into your hobbies, into your life goals, into I invest myself into the things you like and dislike. I invest myself into these areas of what you hold to be valuable. And that stokes the fire within the other person. Okay, what's going to make you feel passionate? Okay, you know what? We want to go on dates. Okay, you like to go and explore. All right, I book a holiday. We go on a holiday. Or you like to go on adventures and climb mountains. Okay, do you know what? I don't like mountains, but because you love it, I like it. Let's go. Right? And my investment into pouring into you and vice versa, you pouring into me, should stoke the fire. But if there was no fire there in the beginning, it's going to be very hard to stoke that in the Western society anyway. Right? So we want to hold two truths. We don't want to be so far left that we are devoid of emotions and we do it based on duty. All right. We don't want to go so far left, because that's not biblical either. And we don't want to go far right where it's only emotions. And if I only feel it, then that's what it is. Then you're too far right as well. You have to hold both mindsets, the combination. Okay. We have to hold a combination. We have to hold a good middle line where it combines the two. Yeah. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a good combination of the two. So not far left and not far right. I want to feel, but I don't want to be over feeling. I want to be duty filled, but I don't want to be just duty filled that I don't feel. You know what I mean? Then it becomes an obligation. It's not that, you know what I mean? It'd be like that. It'd be like that. Someone asked, I guess want to know, why did he choose her of all the women in the world if it wasn't for some type of feeling? Proximity, and also security. Security, knowing that this woman has been there from the very beginning and loves you beyond what anyone else could. And more than likely what happened was, with all those other women he met in that particular place, none of them loved him the way he needed to. Look, let me tell you something, man. And this is me projecting a little bit. I'm gonna project a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna project myself into the situation, so it's gonna be biased into what I'm gonna say. But I do believe there's something we can learn from this, right? When I was younger, and when I was hurt and I was in pain more, I wanted love. I still do, don't get it twisted. I want you to hear me very carefully. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be cared for. I wanted to feel you want me, desire me, and I needed to have that, right? If you hear me carefully. But once I started healing, I started dealing with that incessant need to want to feel loved. I'm not saying that I didn't want to feel love. I still want to feel love. But there's an incessant need where it goes beyond, where you're pining for love. And you put yourself in the position of the woman, not the man. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? So here's what I mean. Like, for instance, a lot of men are broken and they are damaged and they are hurt. So what they do is they use women to feel love, but don't give it. You're supposed to be in the giving. I'm not saying you're not supposed to receive love, by the way. Listen to what I'm going to say to you, because I don't want to miss it and misquote me. It's not that men are not meant to receive love from their wife. It's that you are supposed to be in the giving position. Yes, you're supposed to receive it, but you're supposed to be actually in the giving. If you're only in the receiving aspect, which is where what I'm hearing from him, the reason why he chose her is because he's in the giving. He's in a receptive position, not in the giving. That's why when he talks about her, you don't hear the love being spoken about, because he's not in the given place. If I'm in the given place, I can say these things to you and say, no, you know what? My wife, X, Y, Z, she's this. Because I'm in the given place. So what I started realizing was, oh, in my past, I was in the taking phase because I was broken and hurt. And so I was pulling. As I got older and as I matured emotionally, as I worked on myself, I realized, no, I'm in the wrong position. I need to shift. And let me give you an example. Many of you will realize this happens. Parents and children. Right? Parents, and this happens with parents and children. You find parents wanting their children to have affection for them that they should be given to their children instead. My lip is dry, brother. I've run out of water. Oh, it's behind me. Right? We got parents, right, who are in the position of their kids instead of their kids being in position for kids. And so you realize your parents are trying to draw from you and they want you to love them the way that they should be loving you. So now you're playing the adult role. Yes, brother. You already know, family. You already know, cousin. You already know, cousin. Okay? So there are some parents who, in all honesty, are in the wrong role. There are some parents in the wrong role. They're literally looking for you to love them the way they should be loving you. And so it happens also, I believe, also with men when it comes to women, that they are in a position of receiving, but not in the giving. Right? I'm not saying that you should deal with a woman who gives you absolutely hell. But what I'm saying is we're supposed to take more. because I'm meant to cover you. I'm supposed to protect you. I'm supposed to lead you. Therefore, I'm going to take on more. Because as the leader, you take on more. That is the responsibility that comes with the right of being a leader. If you have rights, you have responsibilities. If I'm a leader, it comes with responsibility. So I'm supposed to give up more. So let me give you another example. It happens in churches where the pastor should be loving the sheep more, but they get the sheep to love them more, and it creates an imbalance. And then that pastor now ends up misbehaving in a particular way, taking advantage of the congregation, because he's not in protection mode, he's in receiving mode. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't receive. Hear me very clearly. It's not that you shouldn't receive. It's that you shouldn't stay in that place of receiving, because the true divine masculine, when we talk about masculine energy, it's about giving. So I'm not saying you can't receive. Please, don't misunderstand me. Men, women, don't misunderstand me. We want to receive. We want to feel loved. We want to feel desired. I want to feel like you appreciate me. I want those things. But it shouldn't be an incessant growing need that I'm in that position. You know what I mean? I shouldn't stay in that position. I should move to another position where I'm like, no, I want to give. And I was saying, I said this, I learned a lot of this from my ex-partner, and I really appreciated this for this, because when I remember I told you about first dates, who pays, who doesn't pay, whatever. And I said, I never understood why we pay on a first date. I don't get it. I mean, to be honest, I still think it's a bit mad. But I get the principle, right? The principle underneath it. But it's what she explained to me. It's how it made her feel. And then I realized, okay, it's in... I was fighting part of this, not because of money per se. No, because of money per se. When you have money, you don't mind giving. I want you to hear me very clearly now, because I understood it through money. When I have money, if anyone's rolled with me, if you're in America, if you're in Ghana, but if I have money, I don't mind using it. I don't mind giving. When I don't have money, I start to feel a certain type of way about giving. What does that say as a principle? What I don't have, I don't give. When I have, I give. A lot of men don't have, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the ability to put themselves in a position of giving, because they don't have that emotional awareness, number one. Number two, they don't have someone who loved them enough to be able to appreciate themselves. They don't have the understanding that they're broken in some aspects, and so they stay in the giving perspective. But once I realized, like what my ex was saying to me about paying on the first date, right? And everything. I was like, well, if that's what you want, then now it makes sense to me. Now it makes sense to me. Now it makes sense to me in terms of the situation. Oh no, I need to be in a given position. Right? When I'm in a given position, it enacts something as an energy to the other party. Right? And so when I started giving, and it wasn't just in money, it was in my time, it was in my love, it was in my appreciation, it was in my words. When I started being intentional in giving, I mean, I'm a pretty giving person anyway, but when I started focusing, and I started being in a place where I started being intentional about giving, I started to see several things. For instance, when you're intentional about giving people love, right, you start to realize there are people that will do two things: receive it, or there are other people who will block you completely and be like, I can't receive it, I don't want it, and you start to realize that actually some people can't receive that. Right? But once you're in the giving space, you're like, no, but you need to receive it. It's okay. No, it's okay. You can receive it. Right? For instance, let me give you an example. Y'all saw my interview with Cerise. Right? Now, I put myself in a given space to give patience, endurance, and love in that moment. Now, old Sharice, love her, but she was blocking everything, and she was trying to anticipate everything I was saying, right? To a point where I'll be honest with you, she said it isn't this, but by the end she said it is this. You know what I mean? When I was saying about daddy issues and does it affect you, and she said no, it doesn't affect me, but by the end she said it does affect you. What was I doing in that position? I didn't want to come out the given space, so I was enduring, I was patient, and I was still gonna ask questions, and I was gonna hold her there. And try my best to give that understanding. I was trying to give that understanding, trying to give that love, give that appreciation that, hey, I'm listening to you. Give that ear. Again, I was giving. It's not money. It's not just time. You're giving more than just that. Right? And so what I was trying to do was I was trying to give to create a safe space. I was trying to make you understand you don't have to give to me. Right? Because if I want to be in a space of giving, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get angry at Sharice, and I'm gonna get annoyed at Sharice, and as I get annoyed at Sharice, I'm now taking. So if you've watched me for the last 2-3 years, you see my interviews. I was with Sharice. I was at my most comfortable, challenging her because I was giving. I wasn't trying to take. When you're in that position of taking, you get emotional, and as a man, especially, you get annoyed because what happens is you're not in your natural state. You know what I mean? Hey, listen. He may have changed. Okay, if he's changed, you know what I mean, then we can only go on by what we see. Do you know what I mean? We can only go by what we see. If he's grown since that point, fantastic. If he's grown to that point, I'm hearing you. But we're using what we see. We were using a video from a few years ago, and we're using it as a case study. So it doesn't have to be about him per se. It can also be used as other people if you find yourself in that situation. Right? So it doesn't have to be, you're right. They may have grown. And if they have grown, fantastic. Maybe I can find some content where they show this, right? And hopefully when he tells a story again in a few years' time, he doesn't tell it in this particular way. Hopefully by growing, that the story will change. Because when he was telling that story in that time, that wasn't one that was a covering. Didn't feel like it anyway. Anyway, last little bits because I gotta go.
After like a month, and then once we got together, it took her like a month to be like cool, saying I'm her boyfriend. And then a couple months after that, I flew to Grand Rapids to talk to her family and tell her mama that I wanted to marry her.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's crazy? When I see you guys, this is gonna do something for our culture, because a lot of times, you know, our culture right now, everybody wants to.
Sure.
You gotta have a big booty girl to Instagram model. Like this right here. Like, I'm so glad that you guys understand your purpose and who you are, but you guys are gonna do something for the culture. So I appreciate y'all love, like for real.
I appreciate
I really
you.
appreciate y'all love. Toby on the show right now. So we're gonna take it back before the music started, before Fat. You were playing football in college.
Oh, I didn't know we was going that far back.
We're doing everything. We scratch the surface and everything. So you were playing football.
Yes, indeed.
You got injured, to my understanding, and it was just like, okay, what's next?
Oh, no doubt. It was like one of the hardest things in my life.
That's
So I had a
an assumption,
Liz
but we don't
Frank
know,
tear in college. My senior year, I was top 5 in the nation at middle linebacker in all of Division I football. That's not like just. That's not small school. It's
Right.
all the school. Alabama, Oregon, everybody. So I was
Okay.
top 5 in the nation. So I suffered the tear, and like a lot of people that play sports, when the sport is like nearing its end, I started having like I don't know, crisis. Like identity, like my identity had been so tied to the sport for so long.
That's all you've known
That's-
since you were, and that happens so much to football players. Like
No
that's
doubt.
all they know, and then when it's taken away, it's like you go through depression because you don't know who you are, because football is who you are.
That the sport gonna end for everybody. 12. He came out and hosted our first fundraising event, but world and like be by myself for a period of time, to where I was just like, I wasn't going out nowhere. I wasn't doing the things that I was doing before, and I had to really come to myself and do like a whole little internal search.
You know what? We're going to do a part 2 of this. We're going to go deeper. Because now that makes me realize something. Because being a sportsman, if he was top 5 in the country, that's going to do something. Yeah, that's going to do something. if he was top 5 in the country for being a football player, that's gonna do something to your mentality, because you're gonna feel like you're at a certain level, and maybe he felt like Fat didn't match that level. Maybe that's why he started the way he started at the beginning. As to why he couldn't see her from the very beginning. Okay. Hey, you guys, if you're saying he's grown, send me some videos so I can see where the growth is. You know what I mean? I would love to see it, man. If you know Tobe too, Toby too, listen, shout him. If you know him, or you talk to him or whatever, send him my way. You know what I mean? We'd love to have a conversation, because I would love to ask him some real question. You know? So, I'd love to see it. Yeah, Roxy, trust. Oh, that's true. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. I'll be honest with you. Cannot be me. I take it for free. All right, guys. I'm a love you and leave you. I appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys stay locked and stay loaded. That's my thing, Simpray. I'm saying I need to see another video that comes out and be like, you know what? I reviewed the tape and it weren't great. You know what I mean? Or some videos where he says it's different now. I got a love for her. I'm in love with her. I need something to change me differently. Okay. I need something different. I need to see something different. If I don't see something different, I have the same opinion, because I haven't seen anything different. Because you were quick and open to talk about this situation in this particular way. I need to see the other side. But someone said make this a topic panel. All right, we can do it on Sunday, because we're going to be on Sunday. We're going to be talking about certain things. So, what song was this, Roxy? Tell me what the song was. I can't remember if they had spoken about it again. But I'll find the information for you guys. All right, and we'll talk about it. Is Love Blind next? Later on today. It won't be today, man. It won't be till later. I am not about that life. I think the song's called Unfollow Me. Oh, okay. I hear you, Rocks. Okay. All right. Listen, I'm gonna go, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go. Listen, people, it's been amazing. Listen, don't dump in my DMs if you don't find me attractive. Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. All right, I don't want any love story like this. You know what I mean? Don't jump in my DMs if you don't find me attractive. Don't let me start a love story like this. I don't want to hear nothing like this. This is not my love story. I don't want to hear any love story that you're telling me I never fancied him in the first place. I rejected him several times, and then I give him a chance. I don't want that to be my love story. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, Roxy, enter my DMs. But listen, the rest of you, stop playing with me. Don't play with me. I'm not interested in this growing love situation. I'm not interested in it. I don't want it. You understand? All right. I appreciate you. Someone said this man raps and sings about his lady and his family all the time. Yeah, that's great. A lot of men have rapped about women. I want to hear what you're going to say in conversation, because you had conversation when you were telling us that you didn't like her in the first place. Come and tell us in conversation that you now love her, you appreciate her, you fancy her. Come and tell us those things. Okay? That's what I want to hear. We use God too much sometimes. God told me, God told me. Did God tell you? Or did your heart lead you before God told you? You have to be careful. I mean, but if you say you love it, I like it. You know what I mean? That is what it is. All right. So I appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back again. Okay. I appreciate you lot.